Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ads and this is my 2014 Mark 8 Transit Van Blister. If you've seen any of my other videos, if you're new here, I've been converting this van with absolutely no experience. If you're in the same boat, go back and check some of my older videos because, you know, if I can do it, you could do it. That's kind of the ethos of what I'm doing here. One of the things I didn't plan on doing was painting. This video was supposed to have been one part video with the Raptor and with the painting, but I didn't realise how much work had gone into it. So if you haven't seen the Raptor coating video, where I Raptor coated all of the trim, go and have a look at that one. I'll put a link somewhere, or it'll be on my playlist anyway. So for the last few days, I've been masking the van. I've had to clear the roof off completely. That's been a massive, massive job. Filling everything, prepping everything. If you've ever painted anything like this, you'll understand that there's a lot of prep that goes into it. I'm not going to bother boring you with all the bits and pieces, but all I will say is plan a day for prep and then plan another day on top of that to go over all the prep you've done. Sanding it back. I don't know if you'll be able to see. Let's get out of the way of the window. I've still got some slightly glossy spots. I wanted to get all the painting done today, so I'm going to crack on with that now. Mask off the rest of it, crack on with that, and yeah, and we'll take it from there. I'd love to be able to say I painted this van for less than 100 quid, less than 26p, whatever. I'd love to be able to say that, but that's not really the case for me. I had to buy new trim and I had to paint the trim as well, so that came at its own expense. To be fair though, doing the trim, if I didn't have to replace any pieces, the Raptor coat was 60 quid. I don't think that's bad, given the finish that I got, but I'll show you that when it's all put together if you haven't seen the other video. So just for the cost of the paint and the bits, just to do the bodywork and all of that, I'm just going to run you through all of that. So to start with, you're going to want to sand the van down. I bought maybe 30, I think I've done of these, and they were about £2.50 a pack of 10. And then I bought some of these abrasive pads, and I got some of the Scotch-Brite pad, but I can't find one of those. I had some primer, because once I'd sanded down some areas, obviously because of the contours, you get down to metal. So I went over a spot of primer. And then you're going to need panel wipes to get rid of any of the dust and debris. I've actually got to go back over the van again in a minute. Here, again, I've been over this van 17 times now. And then when it comes to putting the paint on, as I said earlier on, massive thanks to LT Tommy. I watched him do his van and he done a bloody good job, so I figured that this would work. I was hoping to have used a compressor gun, but none of the fittings fit. So we're just going to go with this today. Obviously you need respirators and stuff. I got dust masks when I was sanding, didn't really need a respirator for that, so I've got the respirator for the paintwork, the solvent abuse gear. When it comes to masking off, I found this stuff really good. Like I said, I put a bead, if you like, of masking tape and then went over that with this and just draped it down. Comes in various different sizes. It wasn't expensive. I highly recommend it. I bought some mixing paddles. You don't really need them to go with your paint kettle. You don't really need the mixing paddles, if I'm being honest. And then the all-important bit is the paint. I got the paint from Paints for Trade, 5 litres of light grey primer, and I got 5 litres of the military vehicle satin RAF blue grey. I do have thinners. Now the thinners are very expensive, I think, from this company. They do say that that's the only ones you should really use with this paint. I do get what they're saying, but with the undercoat I'm going to use a cheaper thinner so that I've got more of that left for the colour itself. It's not going very well. That was an unmitigated disaster from start to finish. This is the first coat and I've used nearly that whole tub of paint. It was getting a bit better towards the end. Where it has covered, it's covered very well, actually. This isn't my favourite game to play, I've got to be honest. I've only got a little bit of paint left. I'm just going to do what I've got here. I mean, the camera probably doesn't make it look as shit as it actually is. I don't think that I had the gun dialed in. I changed the nozzle halfway through. I had the nozzle that came with it, and I think that was throwing it out a little bit too big. So I put on the smaller, tinier nozzle. I don't know what the size is. I forgot there was even an exchangeable nozzle on it. So, and then I'm going to do another coat of that if I can get away with it. I haven't got a lot left. Yeah, not a lot at all. So, yeah, ball ache really, innit? Okay, after that coat, which was arguably way thinner than the first one, it's not as bad as I thought. I've still got a problem here, because where I sanded it back, I went back to paint, so I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to wait for that to go off. I'm just going to knock that top bit off, because I'm really pissed off about that, if I'm being honest. I've got a couple of marks on this side. I'm just going to go with it for now, though. I'm not going to bother pulling my hair out over it. The paint started getting a bit spitty, so I'm going to let that go off properly now. I'll reserve judgment on this paint gun. I don't really know much about paint guns, so I can't really say much about it, but I mean, it's doing a job. I don't know if it's doing the job, but something's happening. I'll keep you posted. So hope I have a bit more luck with the colour. Fingers crossed. Okay, right, so the second coat, well, the first coat of the colour went better than the primer. I'm guessing the primer's thicker and it's a bit of a dick to put on. Colour's nice. So the first coat took about 1 litre, which means I should have about 4 litres left of that tin. But what I might do is just go a little bit heavier. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I'll just keep it light and go again the same way I did this time, because it seemed to work. It's shiny, and I'm not sure if people call that the orange peel effect. But I gotta be honest with you, I don't really care. If it dries nice, then that'll be fine for me. So I'm gonna let that dry, I'm gonna knock it back, give it a little, just knock all the bugs off with a bit of a sand, and hit it with coat number 2. I'm feeling a bit more positive about it. I do have patches, like this is where the gun let me down on the primer. There's not really much I could do about it now, to be honest. I'm just going to live with that. For the amount of crap that was wrong with it, bodywork wise, before, I'm just going to go with what it is now. I'm just going to go with it. So it turns out I've got to leave it 3 to 4 hours to do the next coat. So it's late now, so I'm going to do the roof. But to do the roof, obviously, I can't put a ladder up against it because it's still quite tacky. So I've come up with this ingenious idea. Go up, go over. It's got to work, innit? Come on. This was the best idea ever. Best idea I've had all day. I'm gonna take my shoes off because I am definitely got oil on my shoes. So they're gonna go here. Forgot my mask. But I'm only gonna be 5 minutes. Let's get it on. This was a good idea. It's like 7:30 in the evening. I'm never going to have time to wait for the first coat to be dry. The roof's only having one coat. I can get that done. That'll be gone off by the time I finish painting the rest of the van tomorrow. And then all my roof bars can go back on. And I'm ahead of the game. I say ahead, I'm already a day behind, but here we go. Right, so that's the roof done. I'm going to leave the rest to go tacky or go off overnight. I'm going to wash the gun out now and I'm just going to leave. I'm done for the day. I don't feel like I've achieved much because I'm supposed to have got it finished paint-wise, but in all honesty, with a 3-hour plus drying time, I thought it was going to be about 45 minutes to an hour. I thought it had to go tacky, but apparently it's 3 hours at least. One thing I have noticed is when I repaired the doors, there was some crash damage on this one and I put a load of filler in. It's actually a lot more obvious now, but I'm not going to let it bother me. The roof's painted, as you've probably just seen. That's done. So tomorrow the bars can go on, more paint can go on, the trim can go on tomorrow afternoon after a couple of layers of paint. It's looking something like it, isn't it? It's actually looking like it's achievable. Worst case scenario, I've got to do a bit Monday morning, but we'll see. This is me going now, so I'll see you in the morning. This will be tomorrow now. This is tomorrow. So it's day 3 of the actual painting of the van. It's gone off overnight. The finish isn't silky smooth. Some people have said, you know, it could be to do with the way that I've mixed the paint or blah, blah, blah. I don't really care. I actually quite like it. I've got a few runs I've noticed. I've got a few patches that need to be flatted back out. I'm going to go over the whole van now. Lightly sand the whole van again before I do the next coat. Right, let's get sanding. So I flattened it back. Did literally skim off the top, just go over it. Don't skip this bit. I skipped it on the last one. I wish I hadn't. It was a bit more hard work this time. I'm going to take the dust off and go for it. Right, that took longer than I thought it was going to take. I went over it with white spirit and it left this horrible film, so I've gone over it with some panel wipes now as well. But time to put another coat on. Fingers crossed. Leave this one to bake for 3 hours apparently, so right, let's get it on. I put on a couple of coats. I'm not going to do any more now. I think I can keep going and keep going and keep going, but I think I'm just going to take the piss a little bit. So I've done as many coats as I need to do. Declan came and helped. You wound the thing up. Moral support. You got me bananas. Yeah. Very, very helpful. Bananas. Right, so yeah, so I've done a couple of coats. I don't think I left the second coat long enough, and now it's given it this texture. They call it the orange peel texture, but I've got to be completely honest, I'm not 100% against it. I don't really care anymore. I've got all the paint on there, and yeah, so I'm going to leave it a little minute, and then I'm going to start peeling off the window coverings, and hopefully by, what time are we now? It's 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock that coat went on, so by 4 o'clock it should be hard enough for me to start putting some trim on. Hopefully. Wishful thinking, but we'll have a look. Right, it's finished. So I'm not going to show you it right now. I'm going to finish the video with a bit of a tour of the van, so you can have a little look around. But I want to clean it and I want to put the roof rack back on. But before I do go, I just want to say the Parkside spray gun was absolute ball ache to start with. It comes with a various different nozzles. I don't really know which nozzle it was I used. I just went for the smaller one because the bigger ones just seem to dump the paint out. I probably would have got a much better result using this, but the other gun was always plan A anyway. This was offered to me, you know, after I'd already decided to do the van. So in some ways I'm glad that I stuck with the original plan, because I wanted to know how that panned out, whether or not I could get the whole van done with said Parkside. So for 30 quid, whatever they are, in Audi, if ever you want to do any little painting jobs, or big painting jobs, as it would be, I can highly recommend it. I used 5 litres of primer, I used 5 litres of the colour. The colour seemed to go on a lot easier than the primer. It took about 1.5 litres to coat the whole van. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. All in all, I'm quite glad with how it turned out. If somebody else who knew what they were doing did it, would it be better? Yes. If I'd have had more money to spend on it, could I have got a better result? Yes. There's loads of other things that would have just made this go so much better than it did. But realistically, I worked with what I had and I made it happen. I don't normally pat myself on the back, but if I could, I would. It's the best that I could do. I think if I did it again, I'd do it better. But given the circumstances, it was the best that I could do. So I'm quite proud of myself. So thanks for watching this video. Do the button pressing if you want, but stick around for this next bit because I think you'll be impressed with the results. I know I am. Take care, love you, bye.